best friend who came with me that I was nervous I was going to get up here and say praise the Lord just out of habit. So I didn't do that, so it's good. So anyway, a little bit about me. I'm from South Bend, Indiana. I do not like Notre Dame. Never been a Notre Dame fan. So you don't have to hold that against me. It's just where I happen to be born. Can't control that. Okay, so Lauren, ironically, she talked about a lot that I was going to talk about, so I guess we're going to hear it again, but that's okay because repetition is good. It means something is important if you hear it more than once. So when I saw the posting for the student keynote speaker application on Facebook, I was reading it, and when I saw the topic, leading against all odds, it jumped out at me because I started thinking about my career here at Michigan State and my journey and how I even got to this point. And I knew that I had to at least try, and I had to at least put myself out there. Because a lot of times when you see opportunities, you may feel like, oh, why would they pick me over everybody who applies, or my story isn't that important, or I haven't done anything of that much significance for somebody to feel like I would be perfect for this position. But you have to learn that there's no harm in trying. The worst thing somebody can say is no, but no is not always a bad thing. And at least if you said that you tried, at the end of the day that you did everything you could to possibly make that opportunity happen for you. So I knew that I had to at least apply for it, put myself out there, and ironically, it was a good fit. So when I was looking at what I wanted to say about leading against all odds, I thought about being a leader, what that means to me, and what other people think, other qualities that people say that leaders possess. And so I was looking online, and some qualities that leaders possess are being honest, they're able to delegate and communicate well, they have a sense of humor, they're confident, they're committed, they have a positive attitude, they're creative and intuitive, they can inspire those they are leading, they lead by example, they're ethical leaders, they possess and demonstrate integrity, they foster potential, they have a positive mental attitude, and has a realistic dose of confidence. And so I was thinking about all of those qualities, and I was comparing them to myself, and thinking about whether or not I stacked up against those. And although those qualities are all very good, I feel that what separates a good leader from a great leader is what this theme encompasses, being able to lead against all odds. Because you can have people who possess all of the qualities we just mentioned, but as soon as opposition comes, then they're nowhere to be found. And you're looking at your leader for that example to know how to handle that situation, and if they can't handle it, then they're not the leader that you thought they were. So being able to take whatever situation that life brings you and understand that once you've accepted your calling as a leader, once you've allowed people to call you a leader, and once you've started walking in that leadership position, you don't get to take time off from being a leader, no matter what comes your way. And so you have to be able to look at anything that comes against you and still have the integrity of the leader, because the way that you go through a situation is an example to other people who come through it. And so if you're able to deal with what you're dealing with the same integrity as when everything was going well, with the same confidence as when everything was going well, with the same smile as you had when everything was going well, that's when people really see what you're made of, and that's when people really respect you in that position.
Yes.
Because I learned this really, the first time I learned a lesson in leadership, I was in high school. I had tried out to be a drum major, and when I did that, I was a sophomore, and so I was a sophomore, but there were other juniors who were also trying out to be a drum major, and so once I was selected to be a drum major, I went into it like, okay, well, they picked me, so you all have to listen to me. So I was going into it, barking at people like, you have to do this, you have to do that, and they're looking at me like, okay, we didn't vote for you. We didn't put you in that position, so who are you to tell me what I can do? So I had to learn that, okay, yes, I've been put in this leadership position, but I have not given people who I am leading any reason to have confidence in me that I'm able to lead them. So then I had to humble myself, really, and understand that, okay, just because I'm a leader, it doesn't mean that people automatically have to respect me in that position. So I need to do whatever it takes to show people that I'm compassionate in this position, I'm understanding, I want to help make you the best you can be in this position, so I'm going to do whatever I need to do to help you understand that. And so it was really understanding that people don't just automatically respect you in a position. They need to see why you're in that position. They need to see what qualities you possess to make you qualified to be in that position. And just because you're in it doesn't mean that you just automatically gain that respect. And so that was something that I had to overcome. And so another thing that really inspired me to put myself in this position was when I thought about my career at Michigan State. There's still high school students here, right? So, okay, we're talking right now. So, when I applied to Michigan State, I said I'm from Indiana, and so I only applied to one other school other than Michigan State, and that was Ball State and Muncie. And nothing against IU or Purdue, it's just, when you go to school with the same people from kindergarten to 12th grade, I don't know about you all, I don't want to see you in college. And so I knew that Purdue and IU just weren't for me, because I don't want to be in a class and I just saw you for 12 years of my life. I like to meet other people. And so I applied to Ball State, and we went to Muncie, and I'm just like, this is not for me. Football is a big deal in my life, and football at Ball State was not. And so, it wasn't a fit. And so I got into Ball State, but I was waiting for Michigan State. I was holding out, and I was really, I was waiting up to that very, very last second of when I had to let Ball State know if I was coming. And my mom was like, you already got that acceptance letter. It's in-state tuition. Why don't you just go? And I'm like, no, Mom. I've been praying about it, and I really feel like the Lord is leading me to Michigan State, so I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. And she was like, okay, it's going to be so much opposition that you're going to face as an out-of-state student. But I knew that if I was where God wanted me to be, He would make the way for me to graduate. And so once I came up here, out-of-state tuition is not a joke. I'm just going to put that out there. And so my first semester, freshman year, I had my tuition set. We figured it out, everything we was doing, and I didn't have to really worry about it. But second semester came, and that's when the problem started. And at that point, that was when I really understood that I had to get it together, because it was to the point of where my financial situations, that was the first opposition I faced, was financial situations. It was coming to the point of where it was affecting my academics. And so I went through this whole period of my career where I was steady trying to wrestle with making it fit and making it work. And I kept talking to different people and figuring out different resources, because as a first-generation college student going to a school out of state, I was totally out of my league. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what resources were available to me, because I had nobody to reference it to. I didn't, my parents couldn't help me. They tried as much as they could, but, they can't say, well, go ask about this grant, or go ask about, this situation. So it got to the point of where I think my second year, or my second or third year, I had to, again, humble myself and realize that at that point in my career, as being an out-of-state student, I couldn't afford to continue on going. It didn't mean that I gave up, though. I did not go home and, with my tail between my legs and, I thought the Lord said that, so I'm just going to go home. No, I knew for sure that God said, come here. But it just didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. So when they said, okay, well, you don't have enough money to finish, I was like, okay, well, now I have a new plan. What do I have to do to be able to come back? And it was like, well, as an out-of-state student, you can take a year off and gain residency. Okay, so I'm asking, okay, what exactly does that mean? What do I have to do? I need to cross on my I's, dot on my T's, so that this year that I'm off, I'm not just sitting down, feeling defeated. I'm working towards coming back. And so that was one opposition that I had to face, knowing that I'm not going to go home and give up on the dream and give up on the purpose that God put on me. It's just knowing that it's not what I thought it was going to be, but now I'm working on this new set, this new goal, this new path that I'm not on. So I did everything that I had to do, and I came back a year later, and I went to Hannah administration, I gave them all my information, and I'm thinking it's going to be this long, lengthy process. And they're like, oh, okay, you did this, oh, you even did that. I didn't know. Most people don't know that you have to do this. I said, I made sure last year that I knew everything I needed to do, because I didn't want to get in a situation where oh, you actually had to do this, and now I have to wait another year. So you really have to make sure when you come against opposition, you have to know that you need to be responsible and take the initiative to know you need to tell me, I want to know everything that I have to do. I'm going to sit in this office. I will be up here every day until you tell me exactly what I need to do so that this won't defeat me. Because it gets to the point of where people, once they face that, where it's like, oh, well, there's this extra thing that you needed to do. Okay, well, now we'll forget it. I'm just going to go home. No, that was never an option. Going home, going back to Indiana, going back to South Bend, same old people, the same old routine, it was never an option for me. So that drive that I had pushed me to figure out what I needed to do. And so going on, by the time I had come back from taking that year off, I had spent so much time focusing on being able to afford to stay that I didn't have time to focus on academics. So I'm coming back after a year off, and my first semester was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. But considering how low my GPA was from having to go through all that I dealt with, oh my goodness, now I'm in a situation where I'm on probation. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means. And I'm like, does that mean I have to go home? Now I'm in another situation where, okay, I can give up and like forget it, it's just too hard. Or now I can figure out, okay, what does that mean? What does this mean that I have to do? What do I have to do? What are resources I can go to? I can go to the Learning Resource Center. I can go to the Math Resource Center. I can go to my professor's office hours. What's the exact plan I need to do to get myself back on track? So I did that. I handled everything I needed to handle. And it was to the point of where, okay, I'm back on track. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm continuing on, graduating, and then it's to the point of where, okay, but your GPA felt so bad that now it's your junior year, you're supposed to declare a major, and your GPA is not where it needs to be. So now you need to figure out what you're going to do now. So now I'm like, oh my goodness. So now, I had this major, I had this plan in mind, this cookie cutter, education was going to happen in 4 years, I was going to graduate, and this is what I was going to do. And now it's like, no, you have to change your major. Okay, again, I could give up and go home. So I'm like, okay, no. So I sat with my advisor, Amy Tratt. If nobody knows her, if you're going into education, Amy Tratt is amazing. I went to her and I told her what my passions were, what I wanted to accomplish, and she was like, okay, well, this is a major that's similar to where you are now. And although you can't necessarily get there the way you want to, this avenue is still a good one. So, okay, all right, great. Now I'm back on track. I've had to change my major. It added some time to my career here, but I'm still on track to graduate. It's not going to happen in 4 years, but I'm still getting the degree. So then, okay, I'm moving forward. I've been here 3 years now, and I've already faced all of this opposition. So now my confidence is coming up to where, okay, well, if I've gotten over all of this, I can make it through anything. There's nothing that can come my way that will deter me. So I'm getting to fall semester of 2012, and by this time I'm realizing that I really need to get my academics back up, because another thing is, once you're a leader, you lead by example. And so I realized that me personally, I can't be in a position where I'm a leader if I'm not a leader in every aspect of my life.
Right.
And if I'm understanding that I've been on probation, at this point I've been on probation now twice. And if I'm not doing what I need to do in the classroom, if people are seeing that I'm skipping class, if people are seeing that I'm not being academically successful, I cannot be a leader. Because what can I tell somebody who has a 3.5 and I'm on probation? I'm not able to effectively lead them if they don't have the confidence in me to be able to do that. So I was praying about it, and I felt led to connect with a professor here on campus who also happens to be a minister at my church. And so I went to her and I said, I need help. Again, humbling yourself as a leader. You're not always going to get it right, but you need to understand when you need to humble yourself and ask for help. Right. So I need help. I'm struggling. I want to do better. What do I need to do? So that was 2012. It's 2014 now. And I still meet with her every week to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do, that she's that accountability that I need. It's just, well, did you turn this in? Did you do that? Did you do that? Well, if you didn't, why not? What happened? So she's that person that I need to keep me on the right track to graduate. So fall semester 2012, we met at the beginning of the year. She said, well, what are your goals? What are your goals for each one of your classes? I want you to go through them and figure out what your goal is for the end of the semester, and then we're going to work towards that. So, I talk really fast, I'm sorry. By the time midterms came, fall semester 2012, I was on track in all of my classes. I was going on my classes. I hadn't skipped any. I was turning in all of my assignments, which, by the way, is not a big accomplishment because it's what you should be doing anyway.
Right.
Just, I'm going to, disclaimer that Don't, do what you're supposed to do. Don't be like, oh, I went to class today, and you're supposed to do that. Okay, just disclaimer. So I was going and doing everything I needed to do, and the week before midterms, I got a call. My sister called me and said my mom had died unexpectedly, out of the blue. We had no idea, because my mom, she had been sick for, I don't know, since I was maybe 8th grade, freshman year in high school. And she would, go into the hospital and come out. It would just become a regular thing, like, oh, she's in the hospital again, no big deal, she'll come out. This particular time, she died. And so I'm like, another opposition, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I literally had a meltdown for about 10 minutes. Jasmine, my best friend, she can tell you, I'm just sitting there like, oh, I don't know what to do. Of course, when your parent dies, you don't expect that to happen. But going back to what I said, being a leader, you don't get time off. Meaning not saying that you can't be human, because you can, but you still have to be responsible whenever life comes at you. So once I had my time and I had my breakdown and I had my realization that this is now my reality, now I have to be responsible. I now need to email all of my professors. This is what happened. I'm going to be gone for X amount of time. I need to reschedule all of my midterms. Is that possible? Can you make that happen? They're responding to me, yes, it's okay. We understand. Take that time off. Okay, now I need to call work. This is what happened. I need this time off. Do I need to cover my shifts? No, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and go home. I'm calling church now because I'm responsible. I'm teaching Sunday school. I'm working in the office and doing various things at church. This is what happened. I'm going home. Do I need to find somebody to fill my positions? You still have to be responsible. Just because life happens, that does not mean you get to be irresponsible. That's what separates you from being a leader, because you understand that, yes, this traumatic event happened, but I can't just leave everybody and be like, oh, I don't know what you're going to do, figure it out. No, you have to be responsible, make sure all your eggs are taken care of, make sure you put people in a position to where they can be successful while you're gone. That's the point of taking care of everything while you're here, so that when you're gone, things can happen smoothly as if, you weren't there, because you're making it so that if you're gone, the whole organization falls apart. That's not being an effective leader. You want to empower people. You want to be in the position where people can depend that when you left, okay, well, she did everything she needed to do before she was gone. I know what her plan was. I know what she was going to do. Now I can read what she was saying and keep going. It's not going, we got to call her 500 times because we don't know what her vision was. We don't know what she was doing. She didn't tell us this, that, and the other. Where is she at? What is she doing? I understood that in my position, I still need to make sure that I handle what I need to handle. And so, like Kristen said, I'm the president now, but at that time I was a chair, the evangelism chair of Young Apostolic Students for Christ. And so in that position, I had planned a workshop. And so I'm at home, and I'm realizing that the workshop was scheduled the Sunday that I was supposed to return. So I'm calling my advisor. This is my agenda that I'm working for. This is what I need you to do, so that when I get back, we can keep forward with this meeting. He's calling me, or he's on the other end, like, I didn't think you were coming back. Canceled it, like I didn't think that you were able to do it. And I'm just talking to him like, I don't understand, we planned it before I left. Just because it's happening doesn't mean I'm going to neglect my responsibilities. I'm coming back, we're okay, let's move forward. I'm understanding that although I had to go home and I took that time off, I still have responsibilities when I come back. And I had to make sure that I was in the position to keep moving forward. Does that make sense? Not saying you can't be human, but you also have to take care of your business. So that was another opposition. Once they came back, and I knew that I had taken care of everything I needed to take care of, my professor was like, oh, we didn't expect you to be back. What do you need? Are you ready? Are you prepared to take your midterms? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Let's go. I finished the semester because I knew that, one, my mom would have wanted me to finish, and two, I just had that in me to keep going. Like, yes, that happened, but I have to keep going with what I'm doing. I have this journey I'm on. I have this plan. I need to keep going because once you go through a situation gracefully, then people who may go through it later, they're able to come to you because they saw how you handled it. I'm not knowing that, a year later or so I'm going to have a situation where I'm able to encourage somebody, but that actually happened. You never go through something just for yourself. Yes, you go through something so that you can learn from it, you can grow from it, but there's always going to be someone else who's looking to you for an example, or you're going through something to encourage somebody else. So that happened, and I was able to encourage her from that situation. And so through my whole career here, I was able to know that no matter what happened, no matter what odds I faced, I was always able to overcome always able to grow from it. And so being that student who, 3 years ago I was on probation twice, last year I had the highest GPA I've ever had. I was able to step into a position as a president. I was able to apply for an undergraduate learning position. I'm able to do a lot of stuff. I studied abroad. First person in my family ever, travel overseas. All this stuff happened because I never gave up. Because I never threw in the towel. I never let all those opposition defeat me. So if I can leave you with anything, I would say nothing is impossible. One of my favorite scriptures, it was my mom's favorite scripture, is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Lauren referenced it earlier, so I'm saying if you're hearing it again, it must be important. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. My favorite scripture, it helped me to do that if I have the Lord on my side, if I'm constantly looking to Him and leaning on His strength and not my own. I know that no matter what comes my way, I can face it, I can overcome it, I can continue to lead against all odds. So thank you for staying and for coming back and for listening to me, and I hope I encouraged somebody with what I said, with what my story, and thank you so much. I'm humbled